Hi everyone, I'm going to run through how to check the setup of a guitar. This works for an electric, acoustic or classical guitar. It's a quick 3-point check that we do when a customer brings in a guitar and wants to know if it's set up well, and it takes under 1 minute. So the first thing we check is actually the nut. Now the nut is one of the most overlooked parts of a guitar setup, and it's actually one of the important things for making the guitar play comfortably. What you do with the nut is hold the string down between the 2nd and 3rd fret, and then you want to check the space between the 1st fret and the string. You want to see a minimal little gap between the 1st fret and the string. That's going to show that the nut is nice and low and just slightly above the height of the frets, which is where it should be. So you can check that all the way along all 6 strings. If the string was to actually touch the fret on the 1st fret, when you do that, that would actually be too low and the guitar probably needs a new nut. If the string is too high, it's going to mean that the guitar is going to need a nut adjustment, which is part of a setup. The second thing we look at is the curvature in the neck, or you call it the relief. A guitar should have a little bit of a concave in the fretboard along the length of it. You can check that with something like a notch straight edge, which is a professional luthiers tool. However, you're probably not going to have one of them sitting around. So the quick and easy way to do it, and the way we actually do it, is just to hold the string down at the 1st fret and the 12th fret, and you look in the middle around about the 5th or 6th fret. You're looking at, again, the gap between the fret and that string. You want to see a slight gap there. You can check it by pushing on the string actually and seeing how much it moves. That gap should be something around the thickness of a business card. So if it's much more than that, the neck has too much relief in it. If it's less than that, the neck's too straight, and either way the neck's going to need a truss rod adjustment, which is part of the setup. The third and final thing you need to check is the action of the guitar. That's the height of the strings above the frets, and I usually measure that at the 12th fret as a convenient place to measure it. So you can measure that with either a string action gauge, which again is a professional luthiers tool. It just has incremental measurements along the bottom here which are easier to read than a ruler, but you can also use a ruler. And what you do there is put the ruler on the 12th fret, make sure it's a ruler that's cut off at 0 at the end, and you're measuring to the bottom of the string. So on an electric guitar you want it to be 1.5 millimeters on the little E string, the treble E string, and around 2 millimeters on the bass E string. An acoustic guitar should be 2 millimeters to 2.5, and a classical guitar around 3 millimeters to 4. If it's much more than that, the guitar will be a little hard to play and need a setup. If it's much lower than that, it may buzz as you're playing it along the strings. Aside from all of this, give the guitar a good play and see if it feels good and it buzzes. That's always a good check of the setup as well. I hope this video has helped you check whether a guitar needs a setup. If you've enjoyed it, please hit the like button or subscribe to our channel.